Thank you so much. I'm so enjoying this with you, and um, this understanding of not being in victimhood and moving into empowerment through the lens of Sita is so powerful. Um, I wanted just to say that, and then the question I think for me is, oh, by the way, I got a photo from my kids this morning because I left them alone. I just left them alone, and then when they were together, they sent it, right, without me kind of pushing for it. So it seems to me that there's been a process of that para level of bhavana for you. I don't know what you would call it, but through the lens of what I've learned, that you reach that state where that clear channel is coming through you. Would you speak about how that happens?
Um, so I can't explain how what happens happens. I've been a meditator for a long time, and for me, since I was 20, I took it very seriously. That's my lineage is serious meditation, and so it's every day. And for many years, I did it and didn't feel a whole lot of change. I mean, I definitely felt more peaceful, more calm. I could deal with situations better. Um, And then at a certain point, I started having memories of the past, which was my first book, My Journey Through Time. I wrote about it. It clarified so much for me. And not only that, I began to see the patterns of karma, how it's really one life, but you get many different opportunities to complete things. What start in one place gets finished in another. And it just seemed so beautiful to me. And so that was my first book. And then I describe in this book how I took some pilgrimages to Ayodhya and then Vaishnadevi and then Raghunath temple in Jammu. And suddenly I found myself back in Sita's time, hearing these conversations, living in the presence of Sita, living in Sita Loka basically. And my heart totally opened to that. And I recognized that, I mean, I always felt Narayani was my Devi. I love Saraswati, I love Parvati, I love them all. But I have this old relationship with Narayani. And something opened at that moment where I felt that I had reconnected with her in a personal way. I had read Valmiki's Ramayana when I was in my 20s, and I knew that Ram and Sita were my devas, but it wasn't personal. There wasn't that personal connection. And I always sort of discounted the last part of Sita's being sent away. That just didn't make sense to me. It was later I discovered that those were added at another time. That's not part of the original narrative. But it wasn't until I started writing that this opened where I found myself in Sita's presence, and it's been that way ever since. It's why I say that these devas are living beings, living presences, and they whoever you everyone has a different history, a different personal relationship. So, and yet everyone does have guides. There's no question about it. Everyone has guides. Everyone has a relationship with some of these divine beings. Everyone has a long history. And when we leave this earth, we go into those realms. And then we come back and we forget it all. So everyone has those relationships. But in order to carry on one's life, a veil comes down. And for some reason, my veil didn't totally close when I was born. you know, Next life it might close. But I think it was for the purpose of sharing these stories, because I think that in terms of human evolution, if more and more people really remembered that that we are eternal beings that just keep coming back to serve and to work through relationships, that would change a lot of things. It would also help people overcome the fear of death, which so many people have, even if it's not expressed. But I think that, and this is where this conference we did on spirituality and science, I think science will come to the point where they see, aha, consciousness creates matter. It's not that matter creates consciousness. Therefore, consciousness doesn't die. You move into another dimension. Science will realize that there are other dimensions and that we live in multi dimensions. I mean, because actually, the soul is omnipresent. We're omnipresent, which means that we can be in many places at once. But we confine our consciousness when we take birth. We limit ourselves, we place limitations on ourselves. And so we're not aware of our full nature. And awakening is just becoming more and more aware, living more and more in that realization of our true nature, which is omnipresent. And in some of my other books, in the Bright Moon Rises, which I read from yesterday, I talk about my time between lives, because the book begins in the Vedic era, and then there's a time in the celestial world, and then another incarnation in Tang, China, where a lot of the things that began in the Vedic era are fulfilled. A love relationship that couldn't be fulfilled at the Vedic time is fulfilled later at that time. And so, and I mean, these writings have made me real. Thousands of years or nothing. It's the wink of an eye. And so I hope to do more writing about the celestial world so that it can become more real for people. I mean, there are many celestial worlds. There's not one. I mean, the astral world is bigger than the physical universe. And so there are many places that one can go. But I think we need to make that real. Real. We need to know that it's real and that we live there as well. We're not just earth beings. We live there as well. We're timeless. We have past, we have future. We can go in either way. And then we have to also be conscious of the present, because that's the work we have to do at the moment. But then being aware of the bigger picture.
I just want to just add that I so appreciate this the memory of the bones. In the Dagara tradition, they say to remember, and your remembering not only the past but now the future is just so important for us, for our evolution. So thank you.